How then should we evangelize? I think one way of answering this question is to remember how we got saved ourselves. I didn't get enough time to invite some friends here to ask them how they got saved. But can you just think about yourself? How did you receive the gospel? How did you get to be saved? Now, if you can remember and answer that question, then you know that in the same way you receive the gospel, you can expose someone to the gospel in the same way. For me, I got saved in my village when some evangelists came. And there was so much presence of God in that little house that I went out to look for it. So nobody really came to talk to me one-on-one. But the power of God in that little village by this unschooled evangelist was so powerful. There was a revival in my village. I just went. I actually told my little boyfriend, I hear people are getting saved in this village. Can we go and get saved? So I went. And then the altar call was made and I raised my hand. So the presence, for me, it was the presence of the gospel brought by people in my village. For some of us, we got saved in high school. The gospel was brought by some people in a challenge weekend, and our church will be involved this month in going to do high school ministries. For some of us, it was in Sunday school. For some of us, it was when we were older and we were more difficult to lead to Christ. The older you become, the more difficult it is to be led to Christ. But for some of us, God spoke to us. When we went to a crusade, we listened, we gave our lives to Christ. Some of us, someone came and talked to us, invited us, and so on. Now, we could say more about this, but let me just share with you a little bit of statistics on how people have been saved. 2/3 of people who are born again, 2/3 of people who are born again, and it would be nice if we were able to ask those questions here, were born again before they turned 18 years of age. 2/3. 43% would have been saved before the age of 12. So what would that tell us? If 2/3 of us got saved in high school, got saved before 18, and 43% before age 12, then when we are praying for junior church ministry here, we will pray more powerfully. When we request for teachers to participate, to volunteer to be teachers in our ministry, just know you are investing your time in the right place. If you're a teacher and you're a professional teacher and you are in high school or in primary school, just know that right before you, God has placed very tender hearts that are open for the gospel. And don't waste your time. If the Lord has given you an opportunity to work with young people, don't lose those opportunities. Those young people can come to Christ early in life. Now, in the 70s, in the 1970s, those of us who are a little older here, many people, between 85 to 90%, would be coming to Christ through the impact of family and friends. Family, friends, you had a come together, somebody in your family got saved. I remember where I come from, there was one girl who got saved in our family of my uncles. Now that family was big because they had 2 wives. This girl got saved and was so badly persecuted, she was sent away from home. At some point she lived with us for a few months. But then we continued to pray and to pray. Later, I can't even count, that is a very big family. I can't even count the number of people who are now saved in that family. One after the other, one after the other, including the ones who sent the girl away. They came to Christ. Now, family and friends, that bond, that network that God has given you at home, don't take it for granted and don't lose the opportunity. You have uncles, you have aunts, you have nephews, you have nieces, you have cousins. They observe you. They look at your life. They admire or don't admire your life as a Christian. You can bring many to Christ either by word or deed or just by observation. They observe your life. You used to be a drunkard, now you have changed. You used to be miserable, now you are happier, and so on, and many can come to Christ through you. But these days, now, times have changed. So, in the 70s, 85 to 90%. Now, today, 60%, only about 60% would come to Christ through family and friends. That is still a big number. That means that we still have an opportunity to share our faith, to live the Christian faith, to walk the talk within our families, and we can have great influence. And we can take advantage of come-togethers, of mambolezis, of many things that happen within family, and introduce the gospel to members of our families. 17%, now this is a very small number. Only about 17% will come to Christ through church staff and church ministries. Only 17%. So you see that evangelism and missions are not just for church staff. Every one of us can lead another one to Christ through all those other methods we have talked about. 25%, a final number here, through personal discovery. Now, these personal discoveries are not in a vacuum. They happen through outreaches that were done, online ministries, personal curiosity. The presence of a local church everywhere is important. Because when people begin to ask difficult questions, they look for a Christian. They look for a church. They look for a symbol where they feel their questions can be answered. Media things can also bring people to Christ. We bring the gospel to people through words and deeds. And we do that, I would say, preach the gospel all the time, in all ways that you are capable of, with all that you have. With all that you have, with all that you are, in all ways, all times, preach the gospel. Preach the gospel with your life. Preach the gospel with your words. Preach the gospel with your actions. Take people to church. Introduce them to a video. Send them a message. Whatever it takes that is in your power to do, do it for the glory of God.